It's so funny because some people hear that and think like I'm just being whatever, but I'm like, are you not a fan of Dave Chappelle? Did you not see that Saturday Night Live? That's literally where I got it from. Yo, what's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and we're gonna break down the lyrics and meaning behind my most recent single, Snowed In. It's snowing on Capitol Hill, not the weather in the sky, but the privilege on the ground. If that crowd was mostly black or brown, military would have already been around. What was going on was pretty much on January 6th, the Capitol Hill was basically bum rushed. At the same time, here in Texas, there was snow that was going on. And for me, like in Texas, it's like it does not happen all the time. You know, there's definitely some places that snow, but it was actually pretty rare that it snowed. And so, you know, as a funny play on words, sometimes a white person's skin complexion is tied to the color of snow. And so I wanted to make the parallel of this sky and the snow. It's wintertime, so it's snowing on Capitol Hill, like, you know, physically, like literally the actual weather is snow where I'm at. So it's just all like, I don't think it was actually snowing in Capitol Hill that day weather-wise, but that was the parallel. So it was a bunch of white people that stormed this Capitol. So it's not snowing on Capitol Hill in the weather. It's snowing as far as the sky, but it's snowing on the ground because of the white people and the privilege to be able to do something like that. Me saying if the crowd was mostly black or brown, the military would have already been around. That was me saying, you could look this stuff up. You know, if you look at some of the Black Lives Matter protests and you look at as far as the statistics on, more than 90% of the protests were peaceful, and that's what it was stating, peaceful protests. Yet when you look at some of these pictures and footage, you got full-fledged military that's out there, and they're protesting to stop killing people that have my skin complexion. All the while, these people in Washington felt like because of Trump that they could just go ahead and take it upon themselves and do some stuff like that. And it's crazy because, oh man, I wrote a book in 2017, a fiction book called Ideas of Illusion. And I talked about, now it takes place in the year 2025, but there's a reference in the book to 2019 about people coming together to turn the trial of a racist person, and they went online and they organized it online, basically did the same thing that they did in 2020. So it's kind of crazy even thinking about that. They planned that shit on social media. What you thought it wasn't about to go down? Yo, I'm dumbfound, never cease to astound me with the ignorance, screaming fake news while spreading fake news. Yo, I think they might be confused. After 2020 and this, it's crazy how when the proof started coming out that they legit in public planned this whole thing, and there wasn't like any type of indication of just maybe we should, I don't know, maybe up the security during that time or something like that. And for me, I'm saying, you know, I'm dumbfound, never cease to astound, because it's astounding how when it is a white person, unfathomable to even think of the basic things with like, oh, boys just being boys, they're just sitting up there on social media talking shit. And it's crazy because it's just all like you have a bunch of people that are screaming fake news while spreading fake news. That's what was so crazy to me, whether it was Trump or anybody else. A lot of this stuff was disproven. Now, me, I love a good conspiracy, especially for it to be proof. I'm a black man in America. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally, come on now. Like, if there's anybody who's gonna believe some crazy shit's going on, you know, in the government, is gonna be me. So, you know, it's crazy how even with the internet and how it almost seems like just to grab anything that supported their narrative. So it's crazy. Descendants of the Washingtons and the Andrews. Look how the president tried to defuse 2 hours later after chaos ensues. He handled that like he did the pandemic. Right. I just wanted to just put in there descendants of the Washingtons and the Andrews. It's so funny. These descendants of the original quote unquote founding fathers, hundreds of years later, coming back to basically trample on the same thing that they, you know, created. And, you know, I wanted to be like, look how the president tried to defuse. When you look up as far as that day and you see his response time to it, still as an acting president, he was just all like, took his sweet time, even though it was quick to rile him up. And then, you know, quick to be like, oh, you know what, guys, you know, just chill out. That hits different when I'm leaving office. You see, they don't treat us the same. Oh, they cautious. Except if you're white, their approach softens. Yo, Trump, come get these nigga lessons. So pretty much what I wanted to double down and emphasize is just how things were handled pertaining to that day. Unless if your skin's white, the approach softens up a little bit. Instead of the hands around the neck, it's like, hey, you know, like, hey, are you doing good? Remember the dude Dylan Roof? They legit, after he shot up a church, allowed this dude, it drove him to get something to eat, some McDonald's or Burger King or something, like, job well done. It's wild. It's super wild. You would not see that if that was a black. No, you would not see that. Just like the same thing if this group was predominantly black or brown, in that whole situation, it wouldn't have even gotten to that point. That's the thing. That's what's so crazy. The last part, you know, Trump come get these nigga lessons. It's so funny because some people hear that and think like I'm just being whatever, but I'm like, are you not a fan of Dave Chappelle? Did you not see that Saturday Night Live? That's literally where I got it from. Is that his whole thing was talking about, you, hey, if you are finding an issue, you know, with dealing with that feeling of not feeling heard and da-da-da-da, you come get these nigga lessons. Snowed in, composition blend, stuffed in this pre-roll, lighted up, stress-free, let go, stress-free, let go. You know, my artist name is Mr. Composition, and I actually have a wellness company and brand of CBD pre-rolls called The Composition. And so with CBD, it helps with alleviating anxiety, stress, different things like that. And a lot of times when people hear this type of news and just the whole presidency, everything in general, it strikes a lot of anxiety. It strikes a lot of stress. Even as a person of color looking at that event, it can be kind of piss you off, basically. Ain't even gonna front, because it's just all like, are you serious? So I wanted to do something interesting as being the artist, and being an artist that has their own wellness. The composition is going to be a blend of everything. That's what me as an artist is. And the pre-rolls themselves have 2 or more CBD strains within it. Thus, the composition is 1 or more, it's 2 or more strains coming together, creating one thing. And so I wanted to, as almost like this weird ad, and then at the same time, it's such a play on words. It's just all like snowed in. I was literally snowed in that day because it was snowing in Texas and it was snowing hard. And I was smoking, my CBD pre-roll. And I'm sitting up there like, snowed in, composition blend, stuff to this pre-roll. Like I'm seeing this stuff, but I'm like stress-free, let go. Stress-free, let go. Hindsight is now really 2020. RIP to MF Doomale. Prayers to your family. We understand your privacy, unlike Zuckerberg. The phrase was hindsight is 2020, and now we're literally in 2021. So it's like hindsight is now literally 2020. And we found out the loss of MF Doom, like literally the last day pretty much of 2020. And the reasoning being, even though he passed a couple of months later, was because the family wanted to keep it private. And so when I talk about privacy, unlike Zuckerberg, you see about all the issues and legalities that are going on when it comes to privacy, when it comes to Facebook. So I was just all like, we understand as fans to the family of MF Doom, your privacy, unlike Zuckerberg, as far as him as a company, as far as Facebook and issues that they're having. And it's funny, again, to go in parallels with my book, Ideas of Illusion, it has to deal with as far as like privacy. So hey, make sure you go, check that out. Drop a tweet, free the bird, open press, freedom word, open chest, protect your soul, free your mind. Distractions are the warning signs navigating through these different timelines. And to go on as far as the social media, the whole Zuckerberg, Facebook, drop a tweet, free the bird, Twitter, the bird, everything like that, open press, freedom word. So this social media being an open press to be able to put your, thoughts and everything out there, and having the freedom of speech to doing so. Open chest being open heart, having an open heart to be able to sympathize, see things from different angles, but to still give my observation on what's going on and how I feel about it. Protect your soul, free your mind. Distractions are the warning signs. And so pretty much what I was saying with that is, if you're going to have that open chest, you have to understand that you do have to protect your soul. Your soul is literally in that. So if you're being open with what it is that you're saying, you're gonna have to learn a way to protect your soul. And distractions are the warning signs that your soul is being messed with, basically. It's a warning sign to yourself, and maybe even a warning sign as far as for the ages in general, but it was a warning sign as far as for yourself, navigating through these different timelines. So that's a play on words as far as like the timelines of different social media feeds, as well as timelines as far as within this life. Like if you believe in reincarnation or multiple dimensions, having different consciousness and different things like that, then that's basically what it was saying. Like all this stuff is going on while navigating through these different timelines. Angles and dimensions, no such thing as yours or mine. Ancestors started collecting on colonized or war crimes. If you're studying whether esoteric or ancient knowledge or different things like that, you or metaphysics, you're understanding as far as angles and dimensions, in this world, in this whole multi-dimensional world, these angles and dimensions, there's no such thing technically as yours or mine. Ancestors start collecting on colonizer war crimes. So, the past and the people originally that occupied this and understood and respected as far as the land, when you look at certain things that are happening to people, or certain lines of people or bloodlines of people or different things like that, and it seems like, like quote unquote Rome is falling, so to speak, or like the cracks are showing and all the different things like that, it's basically like karma. Like, hey, it's time to collect. You thought you was just gonna come through, rape and freaking kill and do all this other things, and that your reckoning wasn't gonna come. The richest man in the world is now an engineer, but the richest man that ever lived was a black king. Don't tell me otherwise, you might be gaslighting. Yo, I just turned 30, so I'm done explaining. At the time when I wrote that, Elon Musk was the richest man in the world, and at the time it was going back and forth. So like the next week Bezos passed over, the next week Elon Musk passed him back. So as of right now, I don't even know that it changes. But at the time of writing it, I had put that, but I was saying the richest man that ever lived was a black king. So if you don't know who Mansa Musa is, this was stated to be the richest man that ever lived. So rich that, and this was a black king from Africa. He was so rich that he can go through Egypt, and straight up deflate, like the money didn't even matter. This dude was so unfathomably rich, even with making adjustments to right then. If you could compare how rich Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos currently is, that would still be a small portion compared to how rich this dude literally was. And when I was saying, tell me otherwise, you might be gaslighting. Yo, I just turned 30, so I'm done explaining. That was basically me feeling like, because literally the day before, my birthday was January 5th, and I had just turned 30, so I just felt like within this time, I'm done explaining as far as the try to get you to understand our value and what we've done as far as in the world as a person of color, as a black man. I'm a rare drop like snowfall in Texas, but when I do drop, best believe it ain't for nothing. So when I wrote that, it was I hadn't really been putting out music, and then when I did put out music, it was very specific. There was a specific subject matter, there's a specific theme or anything like that. And so it was for a reason. And so when I was talking about the snowfall in Texas, even though it was random, it was falling for a reason. This particular time, even though it seemed abnormal, there is a reason that we still may not even fully understand. What's a normal snowflake if they're all different? Since we're all different, then we're no different. Just to kind of wrap it up, almost not even almost, it was just this sum up. Even though I was talking, all of this stuff, again, the open heart, empathize and sympathize, and different things like that, I just wanted to very simply state, that a normal snowflake, a snowflake that is considered normal, is in itself different. Since we're all different as far as us as humans, different colors, different genders, different things like that, we're no different. So the normal is being different, and even though a snowflake, a white person or a black person or anything like that, even though they're different, it's normal for us to be different. It's normal that there are differences. It's normal that there's different shades of people. It is normal that there's different genders. These are normal that we're different. This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and that was the breakdown and meaning behind my latest single, Snowed In. Make sure to stream on all available platforms and order my CBD Prerolls, the composition, and check out my book, Ideas of Illusion.
Snowed in, composition blend, stuffed in this pre-roll, light it up, stress free, let go, stress free, let go, Snowed in, composition blend, stuffed in this pre-roll, light it up.